guest of NEET Academy. Today we are going to deal with the chapter 7, structural organization in animals. Okay, so in this chapter, according to the new NCERT, they have skipped many portions, but for our safety purposes we will be dealing with all the topics. But in new NCERT it's just frog and little bit about the structural organization. Okay, so now at first we will be doing the NCERT and after that we will be doing the additional topics. Okay, and we will also be having a PYQ session at the last. Let's begin. Now we have studied about classification, different types of classification and their organizations, their cellular organization. As we know, there are unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms, right? So in unicellular organisms, all the functions like digestion, respiration and reproduction are performed by a single cell. But in the multicellular organizations, in multicellular organisms, the functions are carried out by different groups of cells in well-organized tissues. Okay, as I said, in unicellular organisms, the functions are done by just a single cell. Okay, in multicellular it is done by tissues, which is a collection of cells, and it is done in a structurized order. Okay, and now let's see what is the definition for tissue. A group of similar cells along with intracellular substances perform a specific function. Okay, a group of similar cells, it is important and it is a PYQ. It is a previous year questions because they have asked it as such. Because a group of similar organisms, group of same organisms, same cells along with intracellular substances perform a specific function. So they are similar, they perform same function. Okay, they are similar and they perform a specific function. Such an organization is called tissue. Okay, clear what is tissue is done. And now let's see what the complex animals. Complex animals are built of just 4 basic types of tissue. How many types of tissue? Just 4 basic types of tissue. Let's see what are all those. And these tissues in different permutation and combination, these tissues in different proportions are used to make different organs. And so let's see, organized in specific proportion and pattern to form organs like stomach, lung, heart and kidney. Okay, and when two or more organs are working together, then we can call it as organ system. Okay, organ system. Organ and organ system, let's see. Okay, now let's see about the 4 basic type of tissues. The 4 basic types of tissues are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and neural tissue. So let's repeat what are the 4 types: epithelial, connective, muscular and neural. Clear? Okay. And now there are 2 definitions for there is one definition for morphology and one definition for anatomy. Okay, what is morphology? Morphology is the externally observable characters. What is morphology? Externally observable characters. The study of those are morphology. What is anatomy? It is the study of morphology of the internal organs. Okay, what is morphology? What is morphology? It is the study of external features, external observable characters. But anatomy is the study of morphology of the internal organs of animals. Clear? Okay. Now let's see the first topic. It's frog. What is the first topic? It's frog. And in this we will be studying about the common basic characters of frog. Then we will be studying about each of the system: respiratory system, digestive system, excretory system. Clear? Now let's dive into frog. Okay, frog is the amphibia. Frog is class amphibia. What does they mean by amphibia? They can live in both soil and water. Okay, both land and water. And they belongs to phylum Chordata because it have chordata. It has notochord and it belongs to subphylum Vertebrata. Clear? Okay, and the class it's amphibia. And the most common species, this is a PYQ, this one was a PYQ. Okay, so just remember that most common species of frog found was Rana tigrina. Which is it? It is Rana tigrina. Now let's see. Okay, we have studied in class amphibia that they can't they can't control their temperature. They can't control their temperature. Their temperature varies according to the environment, right? Those type of animals are known as cold-blooded animals or poikilotherms, right? They are cold-blooded or poikilotherms. Then the frogs can change their color according to their environment. Okay, so the ability to change color to hide them from their enemies. These property are used to hide them from their enemies, and this property is known as camouflage. What is the property known as? The property is known as camouflage. Clear? And the protective coloration is called reproductive coloration is known as mimicry. Clear? Now what is the another feature? They take shelters in deep burrows to protect from external heat and cold. It's like we can't see we can't see frogs in our environment every time. Like they won't be seen in peak winter and peak summer seasons because they hide themselves in the deep burrows. Okay, so if they are not seeing in the summer, they are in their summer sleep. What is it known as? Their summer sleep is known as aestivation. What is it? Aestivation. Okay, if they are not seen in the winter, they are in their winter sleep. What is their winter sleep known as? Hibernation. Clear? You have to note it, don't confuse between them. Summer sleep is aestivation, winter sleep is hibernation. And now going into the morphology of frog. Okay, morphology of frog. Have you ever seen the smooth skin of frog? The skin of frog is smooth. The skin is smooth and slippery. The skin is smooth and slippery and it is always moist. Have you seen that? It is always moist and the skin is smooth and slippery due to the presence of mucus. Okay, then the skin is always as I said, it is always maintained moist. Means there is always a content of moisture on their skin. Why this? It is because of the production of their mucus. Okay, now what is the color of the skin? The color of the dorsal, as I said before, dorsal is the outer side and ventral is the inner side. Okay, so the color of the dorsal skin can be varied from olive green to darker. Okay, olive green to darker shades with spots, and the inner, which means the ventral side, is always uniform yellow color. Clear? Okay, ventral side is uniformly pale yellow color. And what about frogs drinking habit? Frog never drinks but absorb water through their skin. Okay, frog never drinks water but it absorbs through their skin. Clear? So this is a point to be noted. Now the body of frog. This is a PYQ because I have seen a question where the body of frog is divided into head, neck and trunk. Is it right? No. The body is divided just into two parts. It is body is divided into head and trunk. Just two parts. Body of frog is divided into head and trunk. Clear? Okay. And neck and tail are absent. Most important point to be noted, neck and tail is absent for frog. Okay. Now what are the other organs that the frog possesses? It has a mouth, a pair of nostrils are present. Okay. Then there is bulge. Eyes are bulged. The frog is having eyes. Just see it. It's having a mouth. It has two nostrils. It has eye, and above eye there is a protective membrane that is known as nictitating membrane. What is it called as? It is known as nictitating membrane. Okay. Just see. It is known as nictitating membrane and it is a point to be noted. It can come as a question. Okay. And they don't have external ears. They are just having a membranous tympanum. But they have internal ear. But their external ear is absent. External ear is represented by tympanum. Clear? Okay. Tympanum. What is tympanum? Tympanum is a membranous structure. Clear? Okay. Now what about the limbs? The forelimbs and hind limbs. Just see that it has two pairs of limbs. This is known as forelimbs and this is known as hind limb. Okay. So they have two pairs of limbs. It is forelimbs and hind limbs, and their forelimbs and hind limbs are helpful in swimming, walking. Their limbs are helpful in swimming, walking, leaping and burrowing. Clear? Okay. All the process can be done by their limbs. And the hind limbs, these hind limbs, they are having limbs and these limbs end in 5 digits. As we have 5 digits, we have 5 digits in our limbs, right? So they are also having 5 digits in their limb, but only in their hind limb. which means in their hind limb, in their hind limb they have 5 digits. In their hind limb they possess 5 digits. Clear? But in their forelimb they just have 4 digits. Clear? 4 limb they just have 4 digits. Hind limbs and then 5 digits, and they are larger and muscular than the forelimbs. As you see in the picture, just see the hind limbs. These are the hind limbs. These hind limbs are larger and muscular, and some of people even use this muscular hind limb as a food. Means they eat frog, okay, and they used to eat the hind limbs because they are more muscular and larger. Clear? Okay. Now coming into the next point, what is it? Their feet is having webbed digits. They have webbed digits. What does they mean by webbed digits? We doesn't have webbed digits, which means the digits are not interconnected with webs. So the webbed digits look like this, something like this, like as you have seen in ducks. The duck feet is webbed, which means they are like more connected to each other. It will feel like a web. Clear? So the feet are web feet. Okay, the feet is having webbed digits. Now what about the sexual organization? It exhibits dimorphism, which means the female and male frogs are different. It is a common property, we know that. And male frogs, what is the distinguishing feature between male and female frog? This is a PYQ. Okay, what is the main important differentiating point between male and female frog? Okay, the male frog can be distinguished by the presence of a sound producing vocal sacs. Okay, so the male frog is having a sound producing vocal sac and a copulatory pad on the first digit of its forelimb. Okay, so what does they mean by this sentence? Means the male frog is having a structure which is known as the sound producing vocal box. What is it known as? Sound producing vocal box. Okay, they are having sound producing vocal box, and they are also vocal sacs, and they are also having a copulatory pad. They are having a copulatory pad. Where it is located? Where the copulatory pad is located? It is located on the first digit of forelimbs. Clear? Okay. And now coming into the anatomy. What was anatomy? Anatomy is the morphology of internal organs. Morphology of the internal organs. So we are going to study about. Now we have just seen the external features. Clear? Now we are going into the internal features of the organs. Okay, first we will be dealing with it is having how many organ system? It is having digestive system, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, excretory and reproductive system. We will learn about each of them. Okay, the first one is digestive system. The digestive system, it is consisted of alimentary canal and digestive glands. Okay, alimentary canal is short because frogs are carnivores. So they can ask it as a question like assertion reason. The frog is having short alimentary canal. It can be the assertion, and they are carnivores. It can be given as the reason. So what is the right answer? The assertion is right, the reason is also right, and the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Right? So they are having short alimentary canal, and they are carnivorous. Clear? Okay. Now let's see the pathway. It starts with mouth, buccal cavity. Buccal cavity means the cavity where the things in the mouth are stored. Okay, mouth, buccal cavity, pharynx. Through pharynx they go into esophagus. Okay, from esophagus the food particles goes into stomach. Okay, and from stomach it goes through intestine, and from intestine it will go into rectum, and from rectum it goes into a common cavity known as cloaca. What is it? A common opening known as cloaca, and from cloaca it goes outside. Clear? Okay. So this was about the digestive system. Esophagus is short. This is a point to be noted. Esophagus is short, and it will mouth, buccal cavity, esophagus, pharynx, intestine, rectum, and finally opens into cloaca. And what about the digestive glands? Digestive glands in liver will produce bile, okay. Just see, liver secretes bile and that is stored in the gallbladder, okay. And pancreas is having a digestive gland. Pancreas is itself a digestive gland, and it will be producing pancreatic juices. Clear? Pancreatic juice. And this pancreatic juice will be having digestive enzymes, and these will help for the digestion. What is the digestive process? Let's see. The bile will be helpful for fat embolism. Means the bile will be helpful for the emulsification of fat. What does that mean by emulsification? The bile will be helpful for cutting down the fat into small particles, okay. So bile, fat emulsifier. Then pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice will digest carbohydrates and protein. Pancreatic juice will digest carbohydrates and proteins. Clear? Now let's see the diagrammatic representation of internal organs in frog. Okay, it is heart, this is gallbladder. Okay, just see, this is the liver, and this is the gallbladder. Gallbladder will be the place where the bile is stored. Liver is where bile is produced. Okay, then its lungs, and above the kidney. Even the diagrams can be made as questions, so you have to note the diagrams also. Above the kidney there are fat bodies, okay, please note it. Then from the kidney arises ureter, and ureter goes into the cloaca. What is it? The common cavity is known as cloaca. Then comes the esophagus. From mouth, esophagus will from mouth to the pharynx, through pharynx, esophagus, and esophagus to stomach, and stomach to intestine to rectum, and again cloaca. Clear? And the cloaca will open into outside, and it is known as cloacal aperture. Aperture means opening. Clear? Okay. Now let's see chyme. When the food particles reach the stomach, the food particles are known as chyme. What it is known as? Chyme. Okay. Let's see. There is one more basic character that you have to note about frog. It is that it is having bilobed tongue. The frog, have you ever seen that the frog is having tongue which is bilobed at the tip? Clear? Okay. The digestion takes place by help of HCl and gastric juices. Okay. Where does this HCl and gastric juices comes? It comes from the wall of the stomach. Okay. HCl and gastric juices are from the wall of stomach, whereas pancreatic juice from pancreas and bile from gallbladder. Clear? Okay. And just see this, the food while reaching stomach, food after reaching stomach, it is known as chyme because it is partially digested food particles are known as chyme. Okay, so this chyme in the stomach, and from stomach it moves towards duodenum. From the stomach it moves towards duodenum, and in duodenum the bile comes into duodenum, and pancreatic juice also comes into duodenum through a common duct. Clear? And from here the duodenum, all these new enzymes like pancreatic juice and bile also came. So there happens digestion. More digestion happens in intestine. So intestine is the place where most of the digestion process occur. Okay, digestion of food happens, then absorption. Then the absorption of the digested food will happen, and who helps in the absorption of digested food? The absorption of digested food is done by villi and microvilli. What are villi and microvilli? They are finger-like projection in the intestine. Clear? Okay. And after the absorption, the undigested food, after the absorption of food materials, the undigested food materials will be going into cloaca again, going into rectum, and from rectum to cloaca. Clear? Okay. Let's see it once again. Okay, duodenum receives the bile from gallbladder and pancreatic juice from the pancreas through a common bile duct, as I said. Then final digestion takes place in the intestine. Okay, and the absorption by numerous finger-like folds, which is known as villi, which is present in the inner wall of intestine, which is known as villi and microvilli. And the undigested solid waste will be removed into the rectum and passes through cloaca. Clear? Okay, frogs respire on land. Frogs will respire on land and live in water. Clear? They respire on land and in water. In land they are having respiratory organs. They have respiratory organs and they make use of the respiratory organ in the land. But frog also lives in water, right? So in water they can use two types of respiration, two methods for their respiration. What are the two methods? One is their skin can act as aquatic respiratory organ, their skin. So skin is also a respiratory organ in frog. Clear? Okay, and it is known as cutaneous respiration. Since it's cutaneously absorbed, the respiration takes place cutaneously, it is known as cutaneous respiration. Clear? Then the dissolved oxygen in the water is excreted. The one method is by skin, right? How does it happen? The dissolved oxygen in the water, the oxygen will be dissolved in the water and this oxygen is diffused into the skin. Clear? Diffused through the skin by diffusion. Okay, then and on land the buccal cavity, skin and lungs act as respiratory organ. Okay, so in land the skin can act in land also. So in land their skin, lungs and buccal cavity can act as respiratory organs, and in water their skin can act as respiratory organ. So two methods of respiration are there. One method is by skin and the other method is by their buccal cavity and lungs. They are also having a lungs. Okay, and if they are using their lungs, it is known as pulmonary respiration. It is common sense. Okay, now the lungs are, what are lungs or how the lungs are present? It is pair of elongated pink colored sac like structures. Okay, pair of elongated pink colored sac like structures. They are present in the upper part of trunk, which is known as thorax. So what is lungs? Lungs is a pair of, just see the lungs in this picture. Lungs is a pair of elongated. It is elongated, it is a pair. So lungs is a pair of elongated structures, pink colored sac. It is pink sac. Okay, and they are present in the upper trunk region, which is also known as thorax. Now the air entered through the nostrils. Air entered through the nostrils, and where does the air goes? Then it goes into buccal cavity, and from the buccal cavity to lungs. So air enters through the nostrils and from there to buccal cavity, from buccal cavity to lungs. Clear? And during aestivation and hibernation, what was aestivation? Aestivation was summer sleep and hibernation was winter sleep. During this period also they take their respiration through the skin. Okay, so this is a point to be noted. During aestivation and hibernation they use their skin as respiratory organs. Clear? Now coming into the next system. Now reproductive system is over. The digestive system is over. Respiratory system is also over. Now coming into the blood and circulatory system, which is known as vascular system. Okay, it is also well developed and closed type. What does that mean by closed type? Instead of in open type is equal to the organs are bathing in the blood, but here it is closed, which means there are blood vessels in which the blood flows. Clear? Okay, and the blood vascular system is consisting of heart, blood vessels and blood. Clear? They are also having additionally they are also having a lymphatic system. What is they are having? They are having lymphatic system plus circulatory system. Clear? Okay, what does their lymphatic system has? Lymphatic system has lymph channels and lymph nodes. Okay, lymph channels and lymph nodes. And now coming into heart. What is the features of heart? Heart is a muscular structure. What is heart? Heart is a muscular structure as usual, and it has three chambers, two atria and one ventricle. It has three chambers, two atria and one ventricle. Okay, and let's see how does it look like. Okay, this is how the heart look like. It is two atria, it is two atria and one ventricle. Okay, three chambers, and the ventricle is covered by two atria, and it is covered. The structure is totally covered by a membrane. The structure is wholly covered by a membrane, which is known as pericardium. The structure is wholly covered by a membrane, which is known as pericardium. It is the protective layer of heart. Okay, and a triangular structure called sinus venosus. There is also a triangular structure. There is a triangular structure which is known by the name sinus venosus, which joins the right atrium. Clear? Okay. And there are big vessels which carry blood to the heart. They are known as vena cava. What is the big vessels known as? Big vessels which carry blood to the heart is known as vena cava. Okay. Now the ventricles. These ventricles will open into a sac. This ventricles also opens into a sac like conus arteriosus. Okay. Just remember these names and just remember that this is related to this. That much is enough, because it is a detailed topic and you won't be getting the topic if I am going to describe it. So just remember conus arteriosus is related to the ventricle. It is a open sac. It is a sac. Okay, conus arteriosus, it is open from the ventricle. Okay, ventricle opens into a sac like conus arteriosus on the ventral side of heart. So conus arteriosus is related to the ventricle. That much is enough. Now coming into the blood from the heart going into all other parts and their circulation is known as arterial system. Okay, venous system where the blood is carried from all the organs towards the heart. Clear? Now coming into a special arrangement, which is like there is venous connection between two different organs. Now we just studied about heart. Heart is having venous system and arterial system, but there are venous connection between two different organs, like special venous connection between liver and intestine. Special venous connection between the liver and intestine, which means the blood between the liver and intestine are exchanged. And also the kidney and the lower parts of body are also connected. What is it? The kidney and lower parts, liver and intestine. Clear? And what is this special arrangement known as? The special arrangement is known as hepatic portal system. The one between the liver and intestine is known as hepatic portal system, and the one between the kidney and the lower parts of frog is known as renal portal system. Clear? Hepatic portal system and renal portal system. Clear? Okay, now coming into the blood. The blood is composed of plasma and cells. The blood cells are RBC, erythrocytes. RBC is also known as erythrocytes. Okay, then WBC, leukocytes and platelets. And now what is the difference between RBC of human and RBC of frog? This is a PYQ. The mature RBC of humans are non-nucleated, which means it doesn't have a nucleus inside it. But for frogs, it is having. Just see, RBCs are nucleated and contain red colored pigment, namely hemoglobin. Okay. RBCs are nucleated and contain red colored pigment, which is known as hemoglobin. Lymph is differentiated from the blood. Lymph is differentiated from the blood. Okay. Lymph is differentiated from the blood, which means both are different. And it lacks few proteins and RBC. The lymph will not be having few proteins and RBCs. Okay. The blood carries. What is the functions of blood? The blood carries nutrient, gases and water to respective sites. During circulation, it carries nutrient, water and gas. Okay. The circulation of blood is achieved by pumping of the muscular heart. The circulation is achieved by the pumping of muscular heart. Now coming into the excretory system. Now this blood circulatory system is also over. Now coming into excretory system. What about excretory system? The nitrogenous waste. They are having nitrogenous waste and these are excreted through their developed excretory system. Let's see about it. There is a pair of kidney. What does they have? They have a pair of kidney, as we see in the diagram. Then they are having ureters. Ureters are the structures which arise from the kidney and they take the filtrate. Okay. Then they are having a cloaca. Cloaca is again part of excretory system also. Then they are having urinary bladder. Okay, this much is their organs in their excretory system. Now let's come. These are what about the features of kidney? Kidney is having compact, dark, red bean-like structures. What are the properties of kidney? They are having compact, dark red. Compact, they will be compact and they will be dark red bean-like structures with a little which is situated Okay, these are bean-like structure. They are situated posteriorly in the body cavity. As in others, it is also located posteriorly to the body cavity. Clear? Posteriorly in the body cavity. And what about each kidney? Each kidney is composed of several structural and functional units. Each kidney is having many functional and structural unit, and the name of their functional and structural unit is known as uriniferous tubules or nephrons. Okay, uriniferous tubules and nephrons. Nephrons is common, which we use for all the animals, because the structural and functional unit of kidneys are known as nephrons, but here it is also known as uriniferous tubules. Clear? And what about the ureters? There are two ureters, and the ureters emerge from the kidney in male frogs. In male frogs, please note it, because this sexual differentiation is important. And in male frogs, this was also a PYQ. Clear? So in male frogs, the ureters arise from the kidney itself. What about the females? And just because it arises from the kidney, two ureters arise from the kidney itself, and they can also act as urogenital tract. They also act as urogenital duct. Which means their sperm is also carried through this duct only. Urogenital duct, urinary and genital duct. It's common in male frog. Clear? And these will open into cloaca. And in female, what about in females? In females, the ureters are okay. In females, the ureters and the oviduct. Oviduct is the structure which carries the ovum. So in female, the oviduct and ureter will open separately in the cloaca. In males, it was both genital and urinary duct were common. Okay, but in females, the oviduct is the duct which carries the duct which carries the ovum, and the ureter is the duct which carries the urine. So both are separately opened into cloaca. Clear? So you got the difference, right? Now what about the features of bladder? It is a thin-walled urinary bladder present ventral to the rectum. So just note the point, the urinary bladder is always present ventral to the rectum. Rectum is in posterior and urinary bladder is in anterior position. Clear? Or we can also say like rectum is present dorsally and the bladder is present and ventrally. Clear? Okay, and this urinary bladder again opens into cloaca. So every system is going to open into cloaca in frog. Okay, so the frog excretes urea. The frog is excreting the content which is known as urea. So it is known as ureotelic. The frog is known as ureotelic. And excretory waste are carried by the blood. Into kidney, where it is separated and excreted. Clear? Okay. Now so excretory system is also over. Now going into neural system or nervous system. Neural system and endocrine system are the systems which are helpful for their coordination and control. For their control and coordination, we need neural system and endocrine system, right? Okay. And this is achieved by the hormones. What are hormones? They are secreted by the endocrine glands. Okay, now what all are the glands that the frog possesses? They have pituitary gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid, thymus, pineal body, pancreatic islets, adrenals and gonads. Okay, most of the glands they are also possessing. And what about their nervous system? They have central nervous system which includes brain and spinal cord. They have a peripheral nervous system which includes the cranial and spinal nerves. Okay, cranial nerves and spinal nerves. And they are also having an autonomic nervous system which is having sympathetic and parasympathetic properties. Clear? Okay. Now what about the cranial nerves? They are having 10 pairs of cranial nerves. How many pairs? They are having 10 pairs. 10 pairs of cranial nerves. they have 10 pairs of cranial nerve. This is not visible here, so I will write it here. They have 10 pairs of cranial nerve. So the frog is having 10 pairs of cranial nerve. Clear? Okay, now the brain is enclosed. The brain of frog is enclosed in a specific structure which is known as a brain box. What is it known as? Brain box, otherwise it is known as cranium. Clear? Brain is enclosed in a bony structure. It is enclosed in a bony structure which is known as brain box or cranium. Clear? And brain. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. And what are the properties of each of the part of brain? The forebrain, which includes forebrains. Just see. The forebrain includes olfactory lobes, paired cerebral hemispheres. They are having olfactory for the smell. Okay, they are having olfactory lobes and paired cerebral hemispheres. This is about forebrain. And also a unpaired diencephalon. They also have an unpaired diencephalon. So three things: olfactory lobes and their paired cerebral hemisphere, and also an unpaired diencephalon. Clear? This was about forebrain. Now coming into midbrain. In midbrain they are having pair of optic lobes. What does they have? Pair of optic lobes. Clear? Midbrain for optic lobes. Optic for vision. Okay, and hindbrain. Hindbrain, the cerebellum and medulla oblongata. Clear? Medulla oblongata pass through the foramen. Okay, this is some higher topic and I'll just represent it here. You just have to know that medulla oblongata belongs to the hindbrain. Okay, so this medulla oblongata, this will be the structure which is known as medulla oblongata, and this medulla oblongata will be leading into will be going through a foramen which is present in the skull. In frog, the skull is known as brain box, right? So in the brain box there will be a cavity, or in the cranium there will be a cavity which is known as foramen magnum. Foramen means cavity. Okay, foramen and magnum, and through this, it passes through this and continues as spinal cord. Okay, the medulla oblongata passes through this foramen magnum and continues as spinal cord. Clear? And this spinal cord, as we have discussed before, this spinal cord is enclosed in a vertebral column. Okay, which is known as vertebra. And frog has, now this system is also over, nervous system is also over. Now coming into its sense organs. It have different types of sense organs. Touch, sensory for touch they are having sensory papillae. For taste they are having taste buds, smell, nasal epithelium, vision eyes, and hearing tympanum with internal ears. For hearing they are having tympanum which represent the external ear, and internally also they are having ear. Okay, then eyes, and which are the most developed structures. The eyes and internal ears are the well organized and developed structures. Okay, the rest are cellular aggregation around nerve endings. Just the eyes and ears are structurally organized. All the others like taste buds, touch, okay, all these are just cellular aggregation, which means group of cells arranged around a nerve. Okay, clear? Rest are cellular aggregations around nerve endings. Now the eye in frog is spherical structures situated in the orbit of skull. Okay, then they have simple eyes. This is a point to be noted. Frog has simple eye, not compound eye. Frog is having a simple eye. Okay, only one unit. Then the external ear is absent, as we said, and the ear is also used in balancing, which is also known as equilibrium. Okay. Now coming into the reproductive system. Now coming into the reproductive system of frogs. The reproductive system of frogs, let's see. Okay, reproductive system of frogs. The reproductive system of frogs are well organized and they have male and female reproductive systems, right? So the male reproductive organs consist of a pair of yellowish ovoid structures which is known as testis. Okay. First we will be dealing with male reproductive system. They have a pair of yellowish ovoid testis and which are found othered to the upper part of kidney. So just remember that they have paired ovoid structures which are known as testis. And what is the location of testis? Testis is located othered, which means glued. testis is attached to the kidneys on both the side. Clear? Okay. And it also have a double fold of peritoneum, which means it has a double fold, double covering of peritoneum, which is known as mesorchium. What is it known as? Mesorchium. Clear? Okay. And now from the testis arise some tubules. From the testis arise some tubules, and those tubules are known as vasa efferentia. What is the name of those tubules? Vasa efferentia. So from testis arise some tubules, and they are known as vasa efferentia. And what are their number? The number of vasa efferentia is 10 to 12. Clear? Okay. Now they enter the kidneys on the side. Now they will enter the kidneys on the side and will open into Bidder's canal. So what will be the travelling of their sperms? Their sperms will be produced inside the testis, right? Their sperms will be produced inside the testis, and from testis they will go through the vasa efferentia, which are the channels. Okay, vasa efferentia. And from efferentia they enter to the kidney on one side. They enter the kidney and open into Bidder's canal. There is a Bidder's canal. Okay, there is a Bidder's canal. Clear? And from this Bidder's canal, it communicates with the urogenital duct. As I said, they are having a urogenital duct, common urogenital duct, right? So from this urogenital duct, they goes into the cloaca at last. Clear? So this is the travel of their sperms. This is the traveling of their sperms from the testis. From the testis, the sperms are produced, then it goes through the vasa efferentia. It goes through the vasa efferentia and to the kidney, and from the kidney it goes into Bidder's canal, and Bidder's canal, from there it goes into urogenital duct, and this urogenital duct opens out of the kidney and goes and connect with the cloaca. Clear? Okay. They enter the kidneys on side and open into Bidder's canal. Clear? Okay, now let's see the diagram. This is the testis. This is the yellowish ovoid shaped structure testis. And can you see these tubules? These tubules are known as vasa efferentia. They are 10 to 12 in number. Clear? And they opens into they connects to the kidney, right? Okay, and here there is Bidder's canal. Bidder's canal is not visible in this diagram, but Bidder's canal. They goes into Bidder's canal, and from Bidder's canal to urogenital duct to cloaca. Clear? Now the kidney is also having adrenal gland. You can also expect this as a question. The adrenal gland is present inside the kidney. Clear? Okay. Then it is connected. This is the urogenital duct. The urogenital duct arises from the kidney. Clear? The urogenital duct is arising from the kidney, and it is connected into cloaca. This is cloaca. Okay, and this is the cloacal aperture. And going into female reproductive system. What about the cloaca? The cloaca is a small median. This is the definition of cloaca. Just note it. Cloaca is a small median chamber that is used to pass fecal matter, urine, sperms to the exterior. Okay. The cloaca is a small median structure. Small median chamber. Chamber means a cavity like thing. A chamber which is used to pass fecal matter, urine and sperm. Clear? Now the female reproductive organs. It consists of a pair of ovaries. What does it have? The female reproductive system has a pair of ovaries. A pair of ovaries. Then and it is situated near the kidneys. The pair of ovaries are not situated other to the kidney, but it is situated near to the kidneys, and there is no functional connection. There is no functional connection between the kidneys. Between the kidney and the ovaries. Clear? And a pair of oviduct arising from the ovaries. As I said before, oviduct are the structures which are used to pass the ovum, which means the egg. Okay, so the oviduct arises from the ovaries only, and it opens into cloaca separately. Clear? And mature female can lay 2500 to 3000 ova, which means they can lay 2500 to 3000 eggs at a time, at a single time. And fertilization is external. As we all know, the frog fertilization takes place in the water or externally, and their larva stage is called tadpole. We all would have seen the tadpole, which is the younger structure of frog. and by this process of metamorphosis, which means they change their appearance eventually and gradually and forms a frog. Okay, forms an adult frog. And the frogs are beneficial for mankind. Frogs are useful for mankind because they eat insects and protect the crops. Okay, and they maintain the ecological balance between because they serve as a food chain and food web in the ecosystem. They are helpful in man because of their use because they eat insects and helps the crop. Then they are also included in the food web and food chain so that they balance the ecological balance, and some of them also eat them as food. Okay, now just a little more about the tissues, specific tissue. What is epithelia? They are sheet like tissues. What are they? They are sheet like tissues lining the body surface and its cavity. They lines the body surface and its cavity, duct and tubes. Clear? And the epithelia have one free surface. There will be one free surface to the epithelia, and they will be facing a body fluid or the outside environment. This is epithelia, right? So this is facing the outside environment. So it is having a free surface, and inside the gut it is also lined by epithelia and it is facing a body fluid. Clear? And their cells are structurally and functionally connected at junctions. The nearby cells are connected by junctions. Indian bullfrog, Rana tigrina is Indian bullfrog. So, and it is the commonest one found in India. So this was all about frog and some tissues. But as we know, this NCERT is, we will be having a break. So this is all about frog, but we also have to learn about some of the animal tissues and cockroach. Okay, so we will be going more detail into animal tissues. The animal tissues are, as we studied, there are just 4 basic cells, basic tissues. Okay, what are the most basic 4 tissues? Epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and neural tissue. First we will be dealing about epithelial tissue. What about epithelial tissue? Epithelial tissue, as I said, they are structural cellular aggregations, right? Cellular aggregation which are connected by junctions. The cells, there will be cell and the cells will be connected by junctions in between them, and they provides a covering. They provides a covering or lining for some part of the body. In skin it is epithelia, right? So it is protecting our body or it is covering our body. Clear? It provides a covering or lining for some of the parts. Cells are compactly packed with little intracellular matrix. What does they mean by intracellular matrix? The space between two cells. The space between two cells are known as intracellular matrix. So the intracellular matrix are very little in this type of cells. Okay. What is simple epithelium? Again, these epithelial cells are divided into 2. One is simple epithelium and the other one is compound epithelium. Simple epithelium is composed of only single layer of cells. Means this is simple epithelium. Just see the picture. This is simple epithelium. Just one layer of cells are present. Clear? And what are the functions? They function just as lining for body cavity. Just as a lining for body cavity, duct and tubes. All the duct, as we said, urogenital duct, urinary duct, oviduct, all these duct will be lined by these type of simple epithelial cells. And their body cavities like stomach, right? These body cavities are also lined by these epithelial cells. So this was about simple epithelium. Now coming into compound epithelium. What about compound epithelium? It consists of 2 or more cell layers. It consists of 2 or more cell layers. I have the picture, just see. Okay. Okay, compound epithelium. This is simple epithelium, right? Compound epithelium will be having one more layer of cells. One more layer of cells. If there are 2 or more layer of cells, then they are known as compound epithelium. And what are the functions? Their function they have protective function also. They are also having protective function. Okay, as it does in our skin. In skin they protect our skins, right? So it is a compound epithelium. And now what about simple epithelium? Basis of structural modification of the cells. Squamous. In simple epithelium it is again divided into squamous epithelium, squamous symbol, which means squamous cells are arranged, then cuboidal, which means the cuboid cells are arranged in a single layer, and columnar, which means columnar cells are arranged. So it is squamous flattened cells. What is the function of simple squamous epithelium? It's just diffusion. What is the function? Diffusion. Diffusion means the travel of water or gas between the cells. Okay, and this is cuboidal. Cuboidal means cube like cells are arranged in a single layer. This is columnar, which means columnar shaped cells are arranged. And just note the point here, in this columnar simple epithelium, the nucleus is not at the center. The nucleus of the cells are not at the center. If the columnar or cuboidal cells bear cilia. Now let's see, the squamous is the cuboidal and columnar type of simple epithelium, right? If the cuboidal and columnar cells are having cilia, if they are having cilia, then they are known as ciliated epithelium. If it bears cilia, then it is having ciliated epithelium. And what are the functions of cilia? The functions of cilia is to move particles or mucus in a specific direction. Okay, just see, this is a cell. This is a cell, and if the cell is having cilia, cilia means hair like structures on the cells. If they are having cilia, they can move the mucus. Mucus will be coming and they can move the mucus in a specific direction. So that is their function. Okay, this is ciliated epithelium. They are having cilia on their structure. Okay, and squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, it's just what we studied now. Okay, these are examples. They are okay, cuboidal epithelium for secretion and absorption. They are also having microvilli as we studied in intestine. Okay, and columnar epithelium, they are tall and slender. Their nuclei are located at the base. They are not at the center, they are at the base. Okay, and just note all these things because it's not in the NCERT right now, but you have to study them. Now coming into glandular epithelium. Glandular epithelium is epithelium which are formed by the modification of some of the columnar or cuboidal. Some columnar or cuboidal will be modified, cells will be modified to form glandular epithelium, right? And what is the meaning of glandular epithelium? Which means they will produce, they will act like glands. Okay, the glandular epithelium can again be divided into unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular means just one cell, and multicellular means cluster of cells. Example of multicellular is salivary gland, and example of unicellular is goblet cells. What is it? Goblet cells of alimentary canal. Clear? Okay, now just see what are endocrine and exocrine. Exocrine means exocrine glands, these are released through duct or tubes. Exocrine glands are having duct or tube, which means the products are released outside through duct or tube. They are mucus, saliva, everything is having a duct. Right, mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzymes and other cell products. But those which are not having duct or tubes are known as endocrine. Okay, endocrine glands. They produce hormones and they release directly into the body cavity. Right, like our thyroid hormone. We don't have a duct for these hormones. Thyroid hormone, this adrenal hormones. We don't have duct. They are just released into the body fluids, right? Okay, so coming into compound epithelium, we discussed compound epithelium also. Now going into second type of tissue, which is connective tissue. Connective tissue are the most abundant. Which is the most abundant? Connective tissues are the most abundant structures. Clear? And why they are named as connective tissue? They are named because they have special function of linking between each other, and they range from soft connective tissues to specialized. In the connective tissue itself, there are different types of connective tissue. They can be ranging from soft to specialized type. Just see what are they: cartilage, bone, adipose, blood. Cartilage, bone, adipose, blood, all these belongs to connective tissues, right? And all the connective tissues except blood, the cells will secrete fibers of structural protein which is known as collagen or elastin. Just as the name suggests, it is connective tissue, right? which means they have intercellular connections, and in all the connective tissues except blood, they will be secreting fibers of structural protein. They will be secreting some structures, some protein structures, and those are known as collagen. Okay. The cells also secrete modified polysaccharides, which will be scattered between the cells. They also secrete some modified polysaccharides which will be scattered between the cells and fibers, and they form the matrix. Okay, they form the matrix. Now the connective tissue are classified into three types: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. Clear? What about loose connective tissue? Loose connective tissue. So this is the picture of loose connective tissue. It will be having macrophage, fibroblast, collagen fibers, and mast cell. Okay, it serves as a support framework for epithelium. Now coming into adipose tissue. Adipose tissue is another type of loose connective tissue. Adipose tissue is a loose connective tissue. So it is having fat storage area, nucleus, and a plasma membrane. It is also a loose connective tissue, and it is specialized. What is the function of adipose tissue? It is specialized to store fats. The excess of the nutrients which are not used immediately will be stored as fat, and this fat is stored in adipose tissue. And which connective? This is a PYQ. Which connective tissue are present beneath the skin? Which connective tissue is present beneath the skin? It is present areolar tissue and adipose tissue. Okay, areola for fats, adipose for fat storage, and areola for the framework. Okay, so two loose connective tissue, areolar and adipose. Now dense connective tissue. Dense connective tissues, in loose connective tissues, the fibers and fibroblast was arranged scatteredly, which means they were not arranged in dense. Here it is arranged compactly, so it is dense connective tissue. And there are again two types: dense regular and dense irregular. Okay, dense regular, there will be regular arrangement, and in dense irregular there will be irregular arrangements. Okay, now coming into examples. So dense regular examples are tendons and ligaments, and dense irregular it is in skin. Okay, clear. Now specialized connective tissues. Specialized connective tissues are cartilage, bone, and blood. Cartilage is solid and pliable. Pliable means flexible kind of thing. And they also have a protein which is known as chondrin. Chondrin is present in cartilage. Okay, the cells are known as chondrocytes. The cells are known as chondrocytes. And the matrix, and they also have matrix which is secreted by the cells. So this was about this is collagen fibers, cartilage cell which is also known as chondrocytes. Now coming into bone. Bone is hard. The cartilage was hard but they were pliable, but bone is not pliable, which is not flexible. Okay, and their ground substance is rich in calcium salts. The bone is also rich in calcium salts and collagen fibers. Okay, the bone contains protein. The protein in cartilage were known as chondrin, but in bone it is known as osine. Okay, the bone cells are known as osteocytes. And blood you will study detail in the blood circulatory chapter. Okay. And muscle tissue, there are two types of tissue: skeletal muscle, mostly three type of tissue. Okay, skeletal muscle tissue, smooth muscle fibers, and cardiac. Skeletal are present in the skeletal muscle, smooth in the visceral organs, and cardiac in heart. Clear? Just see you can just take the screenshot and just see the features clearly, and it is also present in the old NCERT. Okay. And at last it will be neural tissue. It exerts the largest control in the body's responsiveness, and neurons are the unit. And there are neuroglial cells. Neuroglial cells are not the unit, but they are protective to the neurons. So this was all about the animal tissues. Now coming into cockroach, we will describe cockroach briefly and we will go into the PYQ section. Okay, cockroach belongs to class Insecta and phylum Arthropoda, which means insects. Okay, arthropod, which means they have jointed appendages. Now they can be bright yellow, red, green colored. Okay, and what is the size? The size ranges from 1/4 inches to 3 inches. Now they are nocturnal omnivores, which means they are present in the night, and they live in damp place throughout the world. Damp means moisture having places. They live in moisture having places, and they are having smelly excreta. Their excretory matter is smelly, and variety of bacterial disease. They can transmit variety of bacterial disease. This was basic properties. Now coming into morphology. Length of adult cockroach is 34 to 53 millimeter. Length is 34 to 53 millimeter. Then they have wings. They have wings that extend beyond the tip of abdomen, and it is present in the males. In male cockroach, the wings will be extended below the body. Okay, the wings will be, if this is the body, if this is the body of cockroach, the wings will be like this, which means it will be extended below the tip of body. Clear? And it is seen in male cockroach. Male cockroach. Body of cockroach is divided into head, thorax and abdomen. Clear? The entire body is covered by hard chitinous exoskeleton. The entire body is covered by hard chitinous exoskeleton. Chitinous exoskeleton is seen in all arthropods. In each segment, exoskeleton has hardened plates, which is known as scleritis. Even though there is coverage of exoskeleton, and in the exoskeleton also there is hardened plates. There are hardened plates, and they are known as scleritis. Okay, sclerites. And this sclerites can be divided into two. Means these sclerites are of two types. One is tergates and the other one is sternites. You just can remember like this. Tergates are starting with T, so they are in the top, means dorsally. Tergates are dorsal and sternites are ventral. So what is sclerites? Sclerites are structures which are hard structures present over the exoskeleton, and they are of two types. One is present in the dorsal side and one group is present in the ventral side. Dorsal side it is known as tergates, and in ventral sides it is known as sternites. Okay, and they are also joined each other by a thin and flexible articular membrane. These sternites and tergates are joined by thin articular membranes. They are known as arthrodial membrane. What is they known as? They are known as arthrodial membrane. Now their head is triangular in shape, anteriorly at right angles to the longitudinal body axis. So this will be their longitudinal body axis, and their head will be at 90 degree. Clear? And their head will show, their head is by a fusion of 6 segments. Because of that, they will be showing great mobility, means they will be mobile. The head will be mobile. Okay, they are having a simple eye, ocellus. Their eye is known as ocellus. They can also be compound eye, maxilla, mandible, labrum, labia. These are the structures of cockroach. Just see these. Okay, this is labium, this is labrum, this is labrum. Labrum is upper lip, labium lower, maxilla. This is a pair of maxilla and a pair of mandible. Clear? And this mandible is their grinding region and incision region. Okay, labrum is upper lip, a pair of mandible. Mandible is their grinding and incision region, and pair of maxilla. Labium is the lower lip. Okay. And a median flexible lobe acting as tongue. They also have a tongue-like structure which is known as hypopharynx. Clear? And the thorax consists of 3 parts: prothorax, mesothorax and metathorax. And they also have neck. Cockroach is also having a neck. And these points are not so important, just read in the old NCERT. Clear? And in females, the 7th in the reproductive system, they are having 10 segments. They are having 10 segments in the abdomen, and in females the 7th sternum, the 7th one is boat shaped, and together with the 8th and 9th sterna forms a genital pouch. So 7 plus 8 plus 9 of the female abdominal segments will form the genital pouch, a brood or a genital pouch in females. Okay. And alimentary canal, it's pharynx, esophagus, and goes into a crop or gizzard. These are additional structures. So this was about cockroach. Cockroach is also having respiratory system and vascular system. It's you can just refer to the old NCERT about cockroach, because now in the NCERT it is not seen. Now we will be seeing the just remember this one more point. It is the female can produce 9 to 10 utike. Utike are their egg forming structures. Okay, they can produce 9 to 10 and each will be containing 14 to 16 eggs. Okay, each utike will be having 14 to 16 eggs. So this was about cockroach. Now we will be going into the section of PYQs. Okay, compared to those in frogs, the erythrocytes in frogs which means the RBC in frogs, they are nucleated with hemoglobin. So option C is right. Frog's heart when taken out continues beat for some time. Select the best option, because the frog's heart is myogenic, which means strong muscular structure, right, and it also auto excitable, which means it can excite its own. So 3 and 4, option C is again right answer. Select the correct route for the passage. This we have studied. It is testis, then vasa efferentia, and testis, vasa efferentia, kidney, Bidder's canal, urogenital duct, and cloaca. So again option C is the right answer. Clear? Going into next question. Correctly matched prayer, where its inner surface bronchioles, its squamous epithelium, tubular parts of nephrons, its cuboidal epithelium, and inner lining of salivary, it is ciliated. Salivary duct is not ciliated epithelium. So they have asked correctly matched. Most, so tubular parts of nephrons is having cuboidal epithelium. Clear? Which of the following is not a connective tissue? Not a connective tissue. Neuroglia is not a connective tissue. So B is right answer. Smooth muscle cells are involuntary, fusiform, and non-striated. So option C is the right answer. You just refer the old NCERT for this animal tissue. Bullfrog of India is Rana tigrina. Mucus helps frog. Okay. Mucus helps frog in forming. What is the character which is given by the mucus? It gives moist skin. Okay. Then which one of the following is the true description about an animal? True one. Okay. Frog body is divisible into 3 regions: head, neck, and trunk. No, the frog doesn't possess a neck, right? And cockroach has 10 pairs of spiracles, 2 pairs on thorax and 8 pairs on abdomen. So this one is the right answer. Now frogs differ from humans in possessing, it has thyroid as well as parathyroid. Humans are also having, so it is not a difference. Then hepatic portal system, it has paired cerebral hemisphere, it has nucleated red blood cells. Humans are having non-nucleated RBC, but frog is having nucleated RBC. So option D. Consider the following statements. Okay, frog, Rana tigrina. Select the options which are true and false. On dry land it would die due to lack of oxygen if its mouth is forcibly kept closed for a few days. Is it right? No, because they can use skin. Then it has 4 chambered heart. It is also wrong. So A is false, B is also false. On dry land it turns uricotilic from ureotilic. It is also false. It is always ureotilic. Then its life history is carried out in pond water. No, it can also live in land. So this is also false, and there is no option like this. So none of these is the correct answer. The ciliated epithelial cells are required to move particles in a specific direction. Clear? We know the cilia is required to move particles in a specific direction. Okay, these are mainly present in. It is present in fallopian tubes. That is right. Okay, bronchioles and fallopian tube is the right answer. In bronchioles, it is respiratory tract. There is also need of this cilia because we need to move the mucus and dust particles, and in fallopian tube we need to move the ova. So cilia is required. Choose the correctly matched pair. Tendon is a specialized connective tissue. No, tendon is a loose connective tissue. Then areolar tissue is a loose connective tissue. Yes, this is true because areolar tissue is a loose connective tissue. Cartilage is not a loose connective tissue, it is a specialized connective tissue. Adipose tissue is again a loose connective tissue. So this is also wrong. Option B is the right answer. Identify the type of cell junction that help to stop the leakage of substance. Leakage of substance will be stopped by the that help to stop the leakage of substance and facilitation of communication with neighboring cells. Okay, so the second one is requiring rapid transfer of ions. Rapid transfer of ions will be done by gap junctions. So the second one is gap junction and the first one is stop the leakage of substance. So it will be tight junctions and gap junctions respectively. Okay. The cell lining the blood vessels belongs to the, is it connective tissue, squamous epithelium, columnar, smooth muscle? It is squamous epithelium. Okay, the blood cells lining the blood vessels are squamous epithelium. Now goblet cells of alimentary canal. Goblet cells of alimentary canals are modified. As I said before, the compound goblet cells of alimentary canal. What are goblet cells of alimentary canal? They are unicellular. They are unicellular, glandular epithelium. Okay, so these are modified cuboidal or columnar epithelium. They are modified form of columnar epithelial cells. Clear? Cuboid epithelium with a brush border of microvilli is found in cuboid epithelium with brush border microvilli is seen in proximal PCT of nephron. Which is the following is present between adjacent bones of vertebral column. Between the vertebral column we can see this cartilage or we can see cartilage. These are all about these animal tissue questions are not so important now because now this syllabus is mostly about frogs. So we will be doing about frogs. Ureters act as urogenital duct in which one? Ureters act as both tract for urinary and genital structures. So it is in male frogs. Okay. So this was all about the PYQs of structural organization of animals, and now we will be seeing again with a new chapter. So thank you all for listening to me. Thank you.